we see it. The entire conversation is designed to change our perspective, review our perspective, help us learn, unlearn, or relearn. Today, I have with us, um, for the first time on the show, a medical doctor. So, um, I'm very good with metaphors, and I know that I will describe everything using anything. But today we have Dr. Amala. Dr. Amala has 18 solid years in the medical profession, and she is a consultant pediatrician. If you have children, I'm sure you know that this is a go-to person. But I'm going to ask Dr. Amala to tell us a little bit about herself and let her know how so special we feel having her in our midst today. Doc, you're welcome to the program. This is the live class with Doc.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Okay, well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on
Yes,
what part,
good evening,
what
Doc.
part of the world.
Wherever you
The
are,
world,
right?
yeah, the world has become a small village. So, yes, we have to realize that. So, my name is Amala Chupokori, right? I'm a doctor. I'm a pediatrician. That's the best part of my work. I love to be a children's doctor. I don't like adults. I don't like adulting is too hard already. So I'm a pediatrician. I practice out of Lagos, Nigeria. Um, I've been a doctor for 18 years. That's a large part of my life. Um, um, I'm also someone who is heavily invested in the family life space. I am a mother. I have four amazing children, and I love to be a mom. I absolutely love to be a mom, and I love to work with children. I'm interested in the family dynamics. I counsel. I'm a counselor as well, family life counselor, and also support people through challenges with the family, marital, divorce, all that space, and adolescent, adolescent, um, adolescent counseling as well. So I'm a woman of faith, and I believe that everything that life gives to us is for a purpose and should be used to bring glory to our Father ultimately. So I'm actually very happy to be here. It's a privilege to be on this platform. So thank you, Mr. Charles, for this opportunity. So I'm good to go. Let's roll.
Wow. Now, just on the top of my head, why pediatrics?
Why pediatrics? One is that I love children.
Okay.
Two is when I don't have to be serious, I don't like to be serious. When I don't have to be serious, I don't like to be serious. At my heart, I'm a child, and I it's just the default way to live for me. So I love to be a pediatrician because so if a child is ill and you treat them, you just see them change. They're not like adults that maybe if they don't want to go to work, they'll still be saying, I don't feel this, I don't. But the child, once a child is well, the child is well, you know. But it does require a lot of intuition, a lot of you have to think, you have to be very observant, you have to think for the child because they can't talk. But otherwise, it's so fulfilling for me.
Wow.
I enjoy it. Yeah. I love to work and play at the same time. So,
There can't be a better place. Since you love to walk
it,
and play, there can't be a
oh
better
yes,
place.
the only doctor that is allowed to be singing Bunny and
Oh my
Baby Shark,
goodness.
do, 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 do. Yeah,
Baby shark.
Baby Shark. I'm the only doctor that is allowed to sing Baby Shark on duty, and it's fine.
Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
love my work.
interesting for me. When you talked about work and play, I've said to um, people who attend um, my trainings, I say to them that you can make work look like play as long as you don't play with work.
Right, absolutely, absolutely, and that even makes you enjoy the work more. Yeah, because you spend so much time at work, so
Right.
the friendlier the environment is and the less toxic it is, it's the better for everyone.
That is
So
correct.
yes, yeah, work can be play as far as you don't
Brilliant.
play with work.
As long as you don't play with work.
Mhm.
Welcome to the live class with Charles. Ladies and gentlemen, today is different. Today is special. We're going to be talking about something incredibly interesting. And don't forget, you can send in your questions. Let us know where you're dialing in from, in the chat box. So, yeah, this is Charles from Lagos, from Benin, from Canada, from America, from Australia. All right. I want you to be part and parcel of today's conversation. You have a question, just ask in the chat box. I'm monitoring, my screens are blinking. I'm monitoring all the platforms: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're live on all those platforms. If you've got any question, just ask those questions and then I'll come back to you. Good news is today you can actually call in. Okay? And immediately I finish reading the live class for today, I'm going to give you the studio line. You can call in or you can send a WhatsApp message. I'll pick it up from there, respond to it, share it with our guests, and you have all your questions rolling. It is going to be easy like Sunday morning. So, Doc, in a minute, I'll be reading the live class with Charles. And as usual, the background music will usher us into that conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the live class with Charles. Prodigal or prodigious. We are all assets, but whoever squanders their opportunities will end up a liability. Where are you today, or where you are today, is a chance. If you nurture your chances, one day you will be a harvest of blessing to your generation. To be prodigious, invest your time, money, and energy, and they will grow. To be prodigal, consume your time, money, and energy, and they will go. Everybody is sitting on a gold mine. Only the digger will be better.
Mm.
The life class with Charles. Hmm.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
Doc, what was going through your mind when I read that?
Hmm. What was going through my mind? It was just a reminder that life gives each one of us several chances, several opportunities. And the difference between the people that make anything out of life and the people that don't is what we use our chances for, how we utilize the chances that life offers us. And a lot of times where we keep on making excuses for the things that we don't have and forgetting how much we actually have. And at whatever level you are in, there is so much that you have. We still have men at 40, 45, or even women at the same age blaming their parents over how their life is. Meanwhile, you've had 45 years to right that wrong, if you perceived it as a wrong. You've had 45 years to rewrite that situation, and then you're still blaming someone else. And the beautiful thing about it is that, just like the story of the prodigal son, where I believe this was taken from in the Bible, after he had wandered away, squandered his life, the part of that story I like is where the Bible says, and he came to himself. There
That's
has to
correct.
be a moment of coming to yourself for everybody. It's like what you call a destiny defining moment. At that moment, you realize that this trajectory I'm going on, I need to turn back. I need to change. I need to make a change. And until we all get to that point of coming to ourselves, you can just be coasting along through life, blaming everybody else without actually sitting down to introspect and look inwards and ask yourself what exactly is going on here. So it's important we all have conversations with ourselves from time to time. I personally don't believe in blaming people or blaming, in fact, some even blame God and blame the universe. Some blame the primary school that they went to. And you're 45 years of age and you're blaming the primary school that you went to. Meanwhile, somebody has become the president of Nigeria and he didn't wear shoes. Life hands us opportunities, and it doesn't matter how you started. It doesn't matter how you started. What matters is now you are here. What are you going to do from this point on? So and that's where being prodigious comes in. That's where being prodigious comes in. What are you going to do from this point? Life may not have been fair. And life is never fair, actually. Life is not designed to be fair. Life is never fair. So
Doctor, that's so
those are the
harsh.
thoughts going through my mind.
It sounds harsh when you say life is not fair. Life is not designed to be fair. And people say that sounds very harsh. Why do you say that?
I don't think it's harsh. I think it's being realistic. I think it's being practical. Life doesn't serve you things on a platter of gold. You have to fight for the things that you get. And even if you were born into a silver spoon family, you have
Right.
to fight to maintain the things that you have been given. So life is not fair. Life is not fair. We're not born equal. People say, okay, the common thing people say is that all fingers are not equal,
Right.
you know, and the opportunities that life gives us are not equal. But there are stories of people that have made something out of life from a, in fact, all this English I'm speaking in Nigeria, we say this life does not balance. It's not balanced. And in summary, that's just to say that life is not fair. It's not fair. So and just the same way, favor is also not fair.
Right.
But what can you make out of what life has given to you? It has given you something.
Hmm.
It has given you something. You should be able to make something out of whatever it is that life has given you because you have examples of people that have gone ahead of you that were able to make something out of the unfairness of life and they're
And
thriving.
that is the point, Doc. Those who have made something out of the unfairness of life. I really want us to
Yeah.
harp on that because looking at this life class is interesting. Part of it, when I was reading it, I found it fascinating. It asks the question. It says, time, money, and energy. Every one of us has got
Mhm.
24 hours
Mhm.
in a day. The rich, the poor,
Right.
the slim, the fat, the tall, the short, the dark, the white, the blacks, the Europeans, Africans, Asians, Hispanics. Everybody's got 24 hours in their day. So if you're dialing here and you don't have 24 hours, let's know. So let's investigate where you're coming from. But let's talk about those who honestly think they are operating from a place of disadvantage, unfairness. How can a
Mhm.
person turn the tide? Just
Okay,
before you
so
answer, just before you answer, there
mhm.
are people who say, I wasn't fortunate. All right. So
Mhm.
maybe they didn't have the opportunity. I say time is there's equal opportunity attached to time, 24 hours apiece, agreed. But we also
Mhm.
know
Mhm.
that people who are given a spring start in life. So I really want you
Right.
to address this from the context of people who everyone will agree that this is an unfair situation. How do they turn the table?
Okay. So yes, you're right that um there are people that seem to have it more unfair than some other people.
Right.
But then I also believe, and I'm a big fan of reading people's stories and reading people's biographies and seeing how I'm a big fan of understanding the process of how things occur in people's lives. So I don't just see a Coscharis that has several car dealership outlets in Lagos. I want to see what is the story behind him. I don't just see a Dangote that has this and that. What is the story behind him? Because everybody has a story behind them.
Right.
By the time you listen to people's stories and dig deep into people's histories, you will see that there were people, sorry, that life gave chances the same way it gave you. But they decided to break out of those, of those shells that life had put them in, and still were able to become something out of it. There are people who have stories of, and a part of the thing is that nowadays we want the end result, but we don't want the process. So you want to lie down on your bed and wake up, you have chains of businesses. You don't want the process. Because if you listen to the process, you would be wondering if you actually want to be where that person is when you think of the process. So
Mm.
it's important, one, to have a dream, have a goal, have a vision. What do you really want to achieve in this life? Who do you want to
Right.
be? You may want to be
Okay.
the MD of a multinational, but that requires
Okay.
that maybe you don't even have an education. That requires that you find your way there, start off from the lower ranks and work all the way
Okay.
up. Some want to
Right.
become the ND without that process. So I believe that yes, life doesn't all give everybody equal opportunities. But I do believe that if you make up your mind that you want to get somewhere and you
Right.
even start, a lot of us have analysis paralysis. You're just sitting down and analyzing all the odds that are against you, and you don't get yourself to move. Until
Right.
you get yourself to move, things cannot move. So it's important to sit down, ask yourself, what do I really want to do? How do I get there? If it is that you want to, maybe you want to study abroad or something, it may require that you have to find a way there and start doing menial jobs before you become that big professor that you're thinking about. There's one a professor of neurology I admire so much in Australia. He's a Nigerian and he's doing so well in Australia. The day I heard his story, the day he told his story, I was like, wow, wow, wow. So I'm seeing a professor of neurology and I'm like, wow, I want to be like this guy. But the day he told his story, I was like, oh, that journey wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. So I'm
Is it
looking
very
at him
difficult?
today accomplished, and I'm already thinking that he came from a silver spoon family. But by the time he told his story, I came from a better background than he did. So it's
Wow.
all in, what do you really want to be? And are you ready to pay the price to become who it is that you want to be? And if you really make up your mind that you're ready to pay the price and put in the work, it's doable.
Hmm.
It's
So
doable.
this is interesting, Doc, because the question was, how do I move from the unfair place to the point where I can say things are better now, things are good,
Mhm.
things are okay. I'm in a good place. That's what I mean. And you said, first and foremost, have a goal, work towards it, begin to make an effort and ask yourself, this is what I want. Am I ready to pay the price? You emphasize that
Mhm.
people want the product without the process. I agree completely
Right.
with you. Now, coming down to the specifics, can you walk us through a situation where you had an opportunity or you saw an opportunity? You didn't really think you were at an advantage, but
Okay.
you were able to scale that hurdle. Occasions where you had fears or concerns and you were able to scale that hurdle.
Mhm.
Has that ever happened in your life?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I would say that I think one of the hardest things I've had to do was when I was doing my postgraduate training.
Okay.
So postgraduate medical training is very difficult anywhere in the world. And in Nigeria, it's extremely difficult because there's just a lot of logistics issues that makes it so tough. First of all, even getting in to do the training is extremely difficult. And then
Okay.
I was doing it in Lagos. I live in one end of town. I had to drive for hours to the other end of town every day. And at that time I was married, so I had to stay at the other end of town and drive. I used to drive like 4 hours. That was when they were doing this Lekki Ekpe expressway. So I used to
Wow.
drive on an average of I used to drive about 3 to 4 hours going and about 3 to 4 hours coming back. But then again, I knew that becoming a specialist in my field was almost like a do or die affair for me. So sometimes I would look at the people that lived closer to the hospital and I'll be saying to myself, ah, these people don't know how it is for somebody to be doing this. It was extremely stressful. I felt it was unfair. I felt it
Wow.
was unfair that I couldn't move closer and at the same time we're expected to do the same amount of work, the same, I had children. It was crazy. But then I had to sit down and appraise the situation. And I said to myself, there are things that are out of my control. I can't control the fact that for now I live very far away. I can't control the fact that for now nobody is going to make any excuses for you at work because you have a peculiar situation. But I can control the fact that if I'm not at work, I can manage my time outside work to make sure I utilize it fully to still help me to pass my exams as at and when due. So I had to make effort, cut off a lot of things, a lot of social interaction, I had to cut off so many things, made sure that every time I had was maximized. And that way, it was a lot of sacrifice actually, but that way I was able to go for my exams and I'll go for the exams, I'll pass, I'll go for the exams, I'll pass. And then the people that lived closer will now say, you that you're coming from almost out of town, how
Right.
are you doing it? Meanwhile, we can't even cope. I said, because for those of you that live within the hospital, after work, you hang out at the lounge, you gist, you play because you have the time. I already knew
Right.
that I didn't have the time. So you're not going to catch me in any of those frivolities. I so yeah, so I think that has been one of the most challenging things I've had to do in my life. And I braved it and I'm here.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm here.
You see, I got just one word you said. It was a do or die affair for me.
Yes.
Tell us, Doc, what does that mean?
I needed it. I was desperate about having it because at that point, I had peculiar family challenges that I knew that I needed to grow. Like I needed to grow desperately. I needed to rise through the ranks. Like I was hungry. I was hungry. So it was not I didn't have the option of, oh, if it doesn't work out, I can leave it or I have I was hungry. So that's what I mean when I say it was a do or die affair for me. I chased it with everything I had because I needed the multiplication of income it was going to give me. I needed the placement it was going to give me. I needed the change. I needed to have a drastic change. So I was hungry. I was very hungry. And that hunger showed up in how I chased it. Like there are days I'm driving, I'm breastfeeding a baby. I'm not asking anybody to do it. I'm not asking anybody to do it. But I was in a desperate situation, and I had to do what needed to be done.
I don't know if I heard you right. You mean you packed to breastfeed the baby, or you are driving and breastfeeding?
No, in traffic, in Lagos traffic, if you've been in Lagos traffic, you can even cook food in Lagos traffic. You can
Unbelievable!
you can
You
cook
could
food in Lagos
breast.
traffic.
Unbelievable! You
Oh yes.
breastfed in Lagos traffic because you had to do it. You know, one thing that's coming up over and over again is you were hungry. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the live class with Charles, and we're talking about prodigal and prodigious. How can I move from an unfair position in life to a place of advantage? And here's our guest telling us how she breastfed her child in the Lagos traffic. Now, if that doesn't move you, nothing else will. Because the point is, she said she was hungry. And here's the question: how hungry are you for success? How hungry are you? So much so that it fuels your determination. 4 hours to and fro, at the minimum 3 hours.
Yeah.
So that's 6 hours.
A nightmare. A
Okay.
nightmare.
So tell us, Doc, it's a nightmare. How do I move from the nightmare to sweet dreams?
Hard work,
Hard
faith,
work, faith.
faith. Uh, um, I don't underestimate the place of faith. For me, I'm a believer in Christ. For so many other people, I don't, But whatever it is that you believe in, you have to believe in that there's something and there's someone greater than you that is ordering your steps. Because every single day you step out, there's a reason to quit. There's a reason to say, I'm not doing again. I can't do this. So there has to be like an anchor. There has to be something that you're holding on to that gives you the courage to go back into the fight. And for me, that was my faith. And the fact that when I'm beaten down, I go
Hmm,
back and say, I can't do this. And I get scriptures that will give me the reasons why I should go back in the fight.
hmm,
And then diligence.
hmm.
Diligence. It's nothing beats hard work. And when I talk about hard work, I'm also going to say something about smart work because
Okay.
smart work is important. Smart work and choosing your company, choosing your association is very important. You
Okay.
can't be moving with people that are not going in the same life direction as you are. They are going to derail you or they are going to trivialize what you consider important. So, by the time you see where you are going, you can see it in your mind's eye. The people that are not seeing it, or at least cannot provide some checks and balances on the way to on your path, on your journey, I don't see what they have. Not everybody, not every relationship deserves your time. And it's
Hmm,
okay. It's okay. Everybody doesn't have to be your friend. Everybody doesn't have to be in your inner courts. Like when the Bible talks about the temple, it talks about the outer court and the inner court. Everybody
right.
doesn't have to be in your inner court, and it's okay. If their vision and their purpose is not aligning, there's no need. Because by the time you find out that everybody around you, you're better than them, it's a problem. Oh. You hardly can grow beyond the association. Association is powerful and it really helped me. So while on that journey, I kept on looking for the people that I felt knew better than I
Hmm,
did. Yes, I looked for them. So even when we meet to discuss, and I'm feeling that I don't have anything to say, I listen to them and I go back and improve on myself based on the things I have heard them say. And by the time they too they were doing well, me self I was following. Me self I was following them, you know. So association is very, very important. Then you have to have a strategy. You can't just afford to be coasting through life. You can't
Wow.
you can't just afford to be coasting through life. Just no. You need to have a strategy, you need to have a plan. What do I want to do? What do I need to get to where I want to go to? You know,
Mm.
and then be ready to put in the work. You have to be ready to put in the work. So yeah, those are the things I can remember for now.
It's
And
incredibly
acquire the
interesting.
knowledge that you need.
Okay, acquire the knowledge that you need. But this is incredibly interesting, Doc, because just listening to you share these challenges brings back memories. You spoke
Mhm,
of hard work, you spoke of faith, but when you were talking about association, you said, don't follow people who are not going in the same direction with you. And
mhm,
here's what, after you said that, you modified your statement by saying, don't follow those who trivialize what is valuable to you. In other words,
mhm,
they may be going in the same direction with you, but to you, that direction is number one priority. To them, is
mhm.
an option.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, she's responding to a simple question. How do you move from a place of disadvantage to a place of advantage? She's listed out the things she did to become a consultant pediatrician. She said it was a do or die affair. Does it sound like this to you, Doc? Those days when we're going to write the bar exams, we will say
Mhm.
it's either you succeed, you have two options. It's either you succeed or you succeed.
Yes, sir.
In your life,
Oh yes.
like it's
Oh
either you
yes.
pass or you pass. We know that those
That's
are the
why
only words we know. All right.
those are the
And
only
thank you, Amala.
options.
The people dialing in from different places. I see Patricia, welcome. Amakri, welcome. I see Amakri say, go back into the fight, for there lies the victory. You went back into the fight. Now, speaking of which, you also talk about strategy. I
Mhm.
want us to come back to the live class. But let me remind all those who are tuned in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube. You can ask any questions you want to ask. And I promised you that we're going to open the studio lines today. So here is it: 090 500 2661. You can send a WhatsApp message if you've got a question, and then we'll take the question. But, Doc, I want to ask you, how did you manage your minimal resources? Because you've told us how you manage time. You
Mhm.
told us how that you didn't have time to over socialize because 6 hours already in traffic. There's no time to hang out with the
Yes,
boys or the girls. And then you have
exactly.
a family to take care of. Now, what about the resources? Because
Mhm.
there's money, there's time. What about resources? How did you manage?
Okay, so one of the one of the things that my parents taught me, especially my mother, is the concept of delayed gratification. And that's
See,
something that a lot of people don't have now. You want to have, nowadays, the younger generation, they want to have too much too soon. And by the time you want to have too much too soon, you're going to have to be putting your hands in places where your hands should not be. So I think that I learned contentment as a child and it's helped me through life. So when Paul talks about, I know how to abound and how to abase, I understand it very well. And that's because I give credit to my parents for raising me that way. So when the seasons were difficult, I was able to
tell
cope
us
with it.
about that.
Yeah. So if at the earlier stages of my training, when we're not earning so much, we're not earning so much. Yes. So, but at that point, you're not going to see me going to places where I can't afford to go, or coming for your wedding and buying a shebi of 50,000 naira because you said that is what it is. I'm not going to do that. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. And no is a complete sentence. I was so confident in my identity that it doesn't reduce me because I can't afford something at this particular point in time, T, because I know that I can afford it tomorrow. But the fact that I can't afford it today doesn't make me any less of a person. It doesn't change who I am. And I'm not phased by whatever it is that you think that you have, because I understand delayed gratification. I understand living my size per time. I understand that perfectly. So it's, yes, yeah, Patricia says godliness with contentment is great gain. That's absolutely what it is. So that really helped me. It was a value that I was taught as a child. And I found out that by the time I became an adult, because sometimes, and I would want to speak to parents, because today we raise our children in a way that we say, I don't want them to suffer what I suffered. But what you suffered made you who you are today. And if you lose the lessons from what you suffered, you're not going to teach your children the lessons that are key life lessons. Delayed gratification is a key life lesson. Contentment is a key life lesson. And those are things we need to go back to start teaching our children in our families, because I'm a family person. And I believe that the answer to a lot of the challenges we have in the world today goes back to the family. I'm here talking about something that my parents taught me, but it's been a life skill that even through the different seasons of life, I'm able to abound and able to abase. And you're not going to see it that, oh, this person is having some kind of challenge in her life in the present. So
Yes.
that helped me manage the resources part of it well, and it's still helping me. It's still helping me. I don't understand when a young girl who is earning 50,000 naira is wearing a wig of 300,000 naira. You're not a magician. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it, because you don't want to delay gratification. And by the time you don't want to delay gratification, you're going to put your hands in things that you shouldn't put your hand in. So I think we need to start teaching our children those things. We don't always have to give your child something because you have it. Sometimes you can make them wait. You
Mm.
can make them wait. You can make them wait. Yeah.
But you see, Doc, just listening to you say this shakes a lot of tables. Okay, I earn 50K, but I'm using a phone that is 3 or 4 times that value. Tells me
Yeah.
either manna is falling from heaven or something's coming out of the ground. You know, but Doc, I want us to speak of your energy levels. 6 hours in traffic, several hours at work. How did you do it? How did you manage time, especially as
Mhm.
it relates to your energy as a person? How were you
Mhm.
able to be prodigious with your energy? Tell me
Mhm.
the times when there's nothing left, or how did you put it together?
I don't know. To be honest, there are some things that you just do, eh? There are some things you do, and when you sit back and think, you'd ask yourself, you just know you were being carried on the wings of grace, to be honest. I
Wings
know
of
that,
grace.
yes, there were things I would have, yes, I know that things I probably would have done myself. Like, one thing I do is to conserve my time, manage my time. Anything I don't have to be involved with, I will not get involved with it. I don't waste energy. I don't I don't have to be at every event. I'm very good in saying I'm sorry I can't come. And thankfully, because I'm a doctor, I can always tell you I can't come. I have an emergency, and that takes me out of it. So but then there are things that there were things that I just know that I was being carried. God was just supporting me through the process.
Hmm.
I can't ignore that fact. I can't ignore, because there were times I would drive through. the traffic, and I have a presentation to do the next morning, and you have to do it. As a junior doctor at that time, you have to do it. So there's things that I really can't explain, but I think I would say that where there's a will, there's a way. And
Okay.
maintaining a healthy diet also helped me. I eat very, I, I try to maintain a healthy diet, you know, exercise as much as I could. Those are the physical things I could do. And then I've always been good in managing my mental energy. I don't invest, I don't invest quarrel or fight where I don't need to be. I don't need to, I don't, I don't involve myself in all those things. I watch my interactions and watch the energy that I have to dissipate. I guard my time. So that those were the things that helped me. If I didn't have to be part of something, and if I see that this thing is also draining me, I avoid it. I avoid it, including friendships. If I see
Hmm.
that, yes, including friendships, if it's draining, I avoid it. I don't have that energy. I don't have
Wow.
it. Mm.
Doc, you see, part of this life class talked about, how you would lose opportunities simply because you were um, prodigal with the opportunity. From your experience, Doc, I want
Mhm.
you to tell me, as a consultant, so many people coming under you who look up to you or who are learning from you. Um, what is really the source of prodigality? What causes people to be prodigal with opportunities? Have you ever lost an opportunity and you say, if I would turn back the hands of time now, this is what I'll do differently?
Hmm. Personally, I can't readily remember an opportunity I lost that way personally, but I can speak generally.
Yes.
So
Someone you say
yes, I can
lose an
speak.
opportunity. What made them lose
Sorry?
it? Yes, somebody, maybe
Okay.
your upstart. Yes.
Mhm. A lot of times, one of the things that makes people lose opportunities is lack of preparedness. Um, there's something, I think it's Tommy Tenney that wrote a book and says, favor is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Um, Sometimes an opportunity comes to you and you're not ready. You're not ready. So it's important for people to be prepared for the place they want to go to. And even if that opportunity has not come, and you know that you're targeting something in this your career, do those short courses, do that masters. Just do it and keep it, because you never can know when it's going to be needed. you know do those refresher courses when you see it and you know that this is connected to where it is that you want to be, and the course comes up. Do it. You don't have to say, I beg, I don't tire every time to be reading book. No, no, do it and keep it, because you don't know when you're going to use it. And then be visible, be loud about the things that you do. A lot of us have imposter syndrome, including myself. A lot of times I'm second guessing myself and asking myself, can I really do this? But you can do it. You can do it. All you need to do is to sit down and think through the process. You can do it. You can do it. So sometimes we're thinking, can I do this thing? And imposter syndrome sets in and the opportunity slips by. And then sometimes the opportunity goes to someone that is not even as qualified as you are, does not even have the
Exactly.
experience that you are. Yeah. So that happens a lot as well. You must be confident. You must be confident in your abilities and be loud. Be loud. Tell people, this is what I do. This I can do this thing very well. Somebody said say yes first before you even think about it. I don't know. I don't know about that though, but I know it works. It works for some people because confidence is very key in everything that we're doing. You can market yourself just with your self-confidence. So preparation is actually one of the major things, because if you're not prepared, you will forever feel there's some kind of skill deficiency that you have, simply because you're not prepared when the opportunity comes. And then putting in the work as well. I still talk a lot about work. because work is a culture. The work ethic is a culture that we're fast losing in this generation. I don't know if you've had to work with this Gen Z, with these Gen Z people. They are bringing a whole dimension to work that, I mean, oh my gosh, including even in our health sector, some of them will tell you, I can't take a night duty. And I'm like, excuse me, you're a doctor.
Oh,
Do you understand? Yes. So the work ethic is something that we're fast losing. And that's because everybody is into do it quick, get it quick, make the money fast, do this quick. And we forget that it's not everything you can do quick. There are things that require a process. So I think those are part of the things that make people lose opportunities. They're not prepared. They don't have the skill sets they need. They don't have the information they need. They're not ready to put in the work. And sometimes missing an opportunity is also because you're not ready. There are sometimes that some opportunities that the way can only be paved through service. People don't like to serve people now. As in, there's this culture of I want somebody is coming out fresh from the university and he says, I can't work for anybody. While there may be some advantages to building yourself up, there are also things you learn from working for people, learning from
okay.
the experiences of the people that have gone ahead of you. So and even sometimes it is the people that have raised you up that can position you for some opportunities. They're able to say, I have raised this one, I have mentored this one. We see that play a lot in corporate organizations, in multinationals. They literally pick up somebody and put the person, and you're saying, where was this person? The person was incubating. They were incubating the person, they were cooking the person for that position. So
I like the word
a lot
cooking.
of things. Oh yeah, they were they were cooking. They were cooking the person. So yeah, so those are some of the things that readily come to mind as to why people lose opportunities.
Okay. So the medical profession is is an amazing one. It's amazing because it's not all the people you start with that finish the race with you. Is that correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So some were prodigal, some were prodigious. Let's put it this way. There are several exams people write and fail. Did you ever fail an examination?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I was just blessed to. I
All
Yeah,
right.
I didn't.
So now, with that kind of sterling record, and you look at those who were not fortunate, you know, what would you put it down to?
Hmm. Um, what will I put it down to? Um, okay, so the medical profession is one of those places that you look back and say, that was God. You just know that God helped you somehow. Because it's quite a difficult journey. It's quite a difficult journey. And it's not even about what you know and what you don't know. So there's also that part of God intervening, or some people will say the universe was helping me. I don't do universe. I know my own is that was God. But then I go back to the power of association. So one of the first challenges I've encountered in medical school is that it's a collection of intelligent people. Everybody that is in 100 level in medical school was the best somewhere. It's because that is what makes people say, this one doctor. We were all the best from primary. In fact, most of us have that record that from primary school we were the best in our classes, all the way
Hmm.
from secondary school till we got to the university. So it was a
Right.
competition of bests.
Okay.
So by the time I got there and I saw that this is a competition of bests, and in fact, by the time, it first of all humbled me because you realize that you're just a local champion yourself. You were just the best in Enugu. Somebody was the best in Abuja, and that best in Abuja was better than your best in Enugu, right?
Hmm.
So I became very humble. And then I began to ask myself, how do I navigate this landmine? Because for me, it was a landmine. And it goes back to association.
Right.
So by the time I scoped my class and I saw everybody in the class, and I saw that those people that were the very best, those ones that had the highest jump scores and everything, they aggregated themselves and they were moving together. So we had what you call learning groups. Yes, we had what you call learning groups, discussion groups, because medicine is actually very vast. You can't read everything by yourself. You have to tap into other people's knowledge to be able to scale through. You can't read it all. And I saw that these people just gathered themselves together in one learning group. And I said, why? And fortunately for me, some of them were my friends. One of them was my cousin. And I went to my cousin and I said, I want to join this your group. Oh. And he said, we're already complete, we're already six. I said, I don't need to talk to anybody in that group because I can see that you people are in a world of your own. I just want to sit in and listen to your conversations. Believe you me, after all the back and forth, because they were like, no, we don't want anybody. I said, you people cannot chase me away. You're my friends, you're my classmates. I want to be a part of this group. So I would go for their meetings and I'm sitting down and these people are saying the pathophysiology, the anatomy. I'll say, hey, oh, hey, God, did I come to school with these people? But I will sit down and listen to them, listen to all the fireworks because their meetings were usually fireworks. They were like, this person is trying to outshine the other person, like bass, boss, fire, fire, fire. And I'm sitting in between the crossfire and listening to all of them. By the time I finish listening, I'll go back and read what they discussed that day. By the next meeting, they are starting another fire. I'll go back and read what they did in that meeting. What that did for me is that by the time we were graduating, all of us in that group, including me, that I'm not even sure if I ever said how many how many sentences in all those meetings that we had for 6 years, all of us were among the best graduating students in our class. All of us. And that's one of the things that always reminds me of the power of association. So even though at some point in medical school, I got married very early, I married, but I would still join them. They would say meeting is for 1 a.m. I'll be at that meeting. Even when I was very heavily pregnant, they'll say, you can't be doing 2 a.m. meetings. So please, we don't. I said, please, if you people have fixed the meeting for 2 a.m., I'm going to be there for 2 a.m. I'll be there. If all of you can come, I can also come. So I would go to the hostel, you know, and join them for the meeting. It was rough, extremely rough. But then I cannot speak about that phase of my life without talking about that group. My children know the story. If you tap any of my children, they know the story because I've told them that this is how to get on in life. When you see the people that have what you need and are going where you want to go and join them. Go and join them. As long as they're not going to make you do things that are unethical, go and join them. Even if you feel you're not qualified to be in that crowd, listen and learn. Learn from the things that they say, learn from how they live their life because success has a pattern. Success comes in patterns. People that are successful, they don't just do things randomly, they just don't do things anyhow. There's a pattern to what they do. So listen to them and learn from that pattern to what they do. And you see that it's a lot of times it's not really about the genius. It's about the efforts that you put in. So yours truly, when they were calling the best graduating student, myself, I followed them because I followed myself, I followed them because I had been following them for 6 years. Yes. I've been following them for 6 years. So when they were calling, I followed them. We were all there together. So
Best
success
graduating by
has,
association.
but anyhow you want it to, at least my name is in that list till today.
Right. Wow,
It's
wow,
on
wow.
that list. So
This is
yeah.
powerful. This is powerful. I have a question in here from Facebook listener. It says, how do you work with your mindset and the reality of life when managing your time? Okay, so you know The challenges are left, right, and center.
Mhm.
And then how do you maintain the mindset in spite of this reality? That's what Isaac is asking all the way from Facebook.
Okay, so one thing about me is that I always try to remain very positive. And I've also come to a point of understanding that there are things that are beyond your control. And for instance, the whole world is in turmoil right now. So you're
Right.
not going to be helping yourself be thinking about all the problems of the world when you know you can't solve them. So I've learned how to create a mind space for myself that is at peace. And that simply means you don't have to engage in every fight. You're driving on the road and somebody wants to abuse you. You don't have to engage in that fight. It's draining your energy. So um the recently I tell people that one of the things that has helped me is there's this prayer, the serenity prayer. God grants me the um
Grace,
grace to, I can't even remember
accept
the
the
whole
things
thing,
I
but
can't change.
yes, I think the part of it I like is the courage to release things I can't control.
That's right.
There are things you can't control. And once things are out of your control, you try to manage what you can. Inflation is everywhere, it is out of your control. How can you manage yourself to cushion the effects on yourself? You don't have to sink into depression. You're not the only person that is buying rice, is expensive. You're buying everybody, it's expensive for everybody. What can you modify within your own sphere of influence to make the life to cushion the effects for yourself? So it comes with a lot of planning. It comes with a lot of planning, a lot of sitting down, introspecting, and a lot of being radically honest with yourself. That, see, this thing I cannot do this. Don't bite more than you can chew. And I believe that if you're able to create that mind space for yourself where I can't afford this now, I'm not going to beat up myself about it. Everybody doesn't have to take Uber to work. People are still taking buses to work. By the time you insist you want to do Uber and it's stretching your finances and you're angry with everybody, nobody sent you to go and be doing Uber to work every day. It's stretching your finances. You're now irritable and cranky at everybody. It's simply because you refuse to control the things within your control. So I think those are some of the things that help me learning how to manage the things I can control and letting go of the things that are out of my control. And then planning. I plan a lot. Yeah.
So, Doc, this is, I want to thank you so much for all the contributions and especially the thoughts and the perspectives that you have brought to today's conversation. On a lighter note, the
Mhm,
serenity prayer does say, help me to accept the things I can't change. But remember
mhm.
during the end SARS protest, the Gen Z said, help me to resist what I can't accept.
And how far did we get to resisting it? how far how far did we get with resisting it?
But I mean, the world is changing, so perspectives will have to change. That I'm going to
Right.
resist what I cannot accept. And yes, we should begin to add that to the serenity prayer. The pushback is real. We're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Life Class with Charles. Don't forget again, we're talking about life as it is, no airs around us. What are the challenges? What are the things that make people miss opportunities? The life class here says something quite interesting. It says if you're prodigious, you will invest your time, your money, and your energy. If you're prodigal, you will consume your time, money, and energy. If you invest it, it grows. If you consume it, it goes. And there's something
Mhm.
you said about success having a pattern. Success having a pattern. You followed those whom you knew were going where you wanted, whether they wanted you to follow them or not. Follow those going where you want to go, whether they are interested in your company or not. That's powerful. That's unbelievably powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of today's conversation, but I want to ask you, Doc, just in the midst of all your thoughts, what is it that you would have wanted to tell us today that you haven't yet shared? Any final words?
Hmm. Final words is for me is life is a potpourri of so many things. Life will always throw lemons if you live long enough. Um, even the even the most successful people you know have backstories. And my final words will be: there is nothing that is unachievable. There is nothing that is unattainable. If you can't find it enough, you can't muster the energy within yourself to get there, go and read the stories of the people that have gone there. And at least that will give you some hope that these things are doable, these things are achievable. Put in the work, put in the work, put in the work. It's something that we're losing. The work ethic is something that we're losing, but it's something that we all need to, imbibe. Above all, let your hope not be ashamed. To them that are joined to the living, there is hope. If you keep on fighting, keep on pushing, one day something will shall give. Something will definitely give. So keep at it. Keep at it. And stay positive. Stay positive. So that's it for me. Keep at it.
Keep at it. Keep at it. Three words that make a world of difference. Keep at it, brothers. Keep at it, sisters. Ladies and gentlemen, keep at it. We have been discussing Prodigal and Prodigious from the live class with Charles. And at the moment, I'm going to read that back again and come back and give the credits.
Thank you.
Prodigal or Prodigious. We are all assets, but whoever squanders their opportunities will end up a liability. Where you are today is a if you nurture your chances, one day you will be a harvest of blessing to your generation. To be prodigious, invest your time, money, and energy, and they will grow. To be prodigal, consume your time, money, and energy, and they will go. Everybody is sitting on a gold mine. Only the digger will be better. Life class with Charles. Doc, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story, for being very real with us, and for being very practical. It is of great value to us because we know that life itself, in the University of Experience, no one is a graduate. So thank you so much for sharing with us, telling us so. We do hope that when next you have to come back to the live class with Charles, there'll be more stories to share and more experience. You know,
Yeah.
and baby shark, do 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 do, baby shark, mommy shark, do 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 do, do, mommy shark.
It was an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
All
Thank you
right,
very much.
ladies
Thank you.
and
It was an honor
gentlemen,
to be here.
thank you so much. Credits to those who tuned in. Isaac, thank you so much. Um, we do have a question here, but Doc, I'm going to ask you to send in your answer to this question so that I'll send it to the participant. It's asked, how can you overcome being shy to relate with others so that you can learn from them? I know that we're out of time. I'll take the answer from Doc and then I will share it with the person as a reply to their message on Facebook. You know, all those who tuned in on LinkedIn, uh, people from all over the place. So Yebamiji, I see you. Patricia, I see you. Makri, I see you. You know, and all those who probably didn't introduce themselves, but we see the numbers on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Till we meet again next week, just don't forget, the lines have not changed. Be the best, the very best. Bye for now.
Thank you.